According to Brooklyn Park's police chief, 2018 was not a good year when it comes to crime at the city's largest apartment complex. The city council wants something done about it. The police chief says crime is a problem at the Huntington Place apartments, and he says crimes there are getting more serious. In one case, the chief says a guy was shooting off a gun at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Roughly 2,500 people live at Huntington Place, and according to police data, more than 500 crimes occurred there in 2018. That's the fourth highest total going back nearly 20 years at the complex. The mayor of Brooklyn Park says something needs to be done. And while some improvements were made, the city says a lot of it was deferred maintenance.
I don't think they deserve 1 ounce of credit for that. I don't think if we were in there raising questions, I question if they'd even be doing anything. I just think that these people are slumlords, and I think they've been sucking money out of the people who rent there and then taking it somewhere else.
The mayor says many of the tenants are the victims. City officials say one of the owners of the property passed away last year. The property is managed by Dominium, the same company that is behind the proposal to redevelop Plymouth's vacant Four Seasons Mall. Meanwhile, 2 suspects are in custody connected to a burglary spree that impacted many West Metro cities, including Plymouth. The 2 suspects are being held in the Wright County Jail. One of them is an 18-year-old Maple Grove man. In the week leading up to the arrest, authorities say there were 20 calls about stolen vehicles, thefts from vehicles, and residential burglaries believed to be connected to the jailed suspects as well as others. In some cases, burglars gained access through garage door openers left in unlocked vehicles. Golden Valley is studying ways to reinvent its downtown area. The City Council recently approved a $35,000 study to look into making improvements. Eric Nelson joins us now with more. Eric?
Yeah, Shannon, it's being called a golden opportunity to reshape downtown Golden Valley. The city is trying to figure out the best way to maximize the quadrants around Winnetka and Golden Valley Road. This would include renovations and redevelopment in some areas and better bicycle and pedestrian connections in other locations.
Are there bike facilities that should be installed on streets or even on some of the private areas where people could leave their bikes and walk around? There's been a push to kind of discourage the use of cars, and so how can we get people to leave their cars and do more walking?
There are 4 quadrants in downtown Golden Valley, and each one will have a different focus. Some will get immediate attention, and others might not see any change for a couple decades. The southwest quadrant is home to the aging Golden Valley Shopping Center. This is one spot that could receive a makeover in the future.
First ring suburbs are all facing the same kind of timeline in terms of needing to kind of reinvent, and the buildings are aged, infrastructure is aged. So as they do that, we're seeing more and more of these kind of nodes of activity popping up. We've seen it in Edina, St. Louis Park. We're going to look around kind of the first ring of the Twin Cities and see what other cities are doing.
Now, one barrier for Golden Valley is State Highway 55, which separates the city. Officials are exploring the possibility of a new pedestrian bridge over the road that would be a landmark gateway into downtown. They have studied bridge concepts in the Netherlands and China. Shannon?
All right, thank you, Eric. Our wet late spring has many gardeners scratching their heads wondering what to plant. Reporter Sonia Goins goes in the garden to show us how people are getting creative with container gardens.
Wacky spring weather, rainy and cold one day and sunny and hot the next, can be challenging for gardeners.
We've had a lot of crazy weather this season.
Some people are taking the guesswork out of planting by using containers.
It enables you to start your plants earlier and move them around from shadier to sunnier spots.
If you want to make your own container garden, Lime plant guru Donna Italian says start with good soil.
It's got a mixture of perlite, which is the white, compost, and peat moss.
Next, you pick your plants using the thriller, filler, and spiller technique.
This is the thriller. This one is a crouton, which is also known as a house plant.
Spillers are plants that hang over the edge of the container.
I always get this lantana, and the hummingbirds and butterflies love this one.
And fillers are generally placed in front of or around the pot.
And this is the petunia. This is a blue wave, and I love this one because it has a nice fragrance.
It's important not to put too many plants in a container.
You don't want to pack it too firmly around it because then the plants are going to feel like they're growing in cement.
And if all this seems like a lot of work, you can always leave it to the professionals.
This is one that's already done up. You see the lantana, it's got a little bit of the grass.
You don't need a green thumb to have a great garden.
This is mizu, which is a succulent, so this one would be good for you, Sonia, because this one doesn't need as much water.
Sonia Goins, CCX News.
The cool spring and frigid winter also impacted area berry farms. Farmers say people will need to be a little more patient this year.
We had it cold for a long time before we had good snow cover, so some of the plants just bit the dust and we have a lot of empty spots in our row. That didn't make the season later. It made our crop outlook not quite as rosy as it normally would be.
The berries are still a few weeks away from picking at the 45-acre Bauer Berry Farm in Champlin. White flowers are blooming and some green berries are visible on the plants, but as you can tell, they aren't ripe for picking yet. Best case scenario for a good crop is a string of sunny days and warm weather.
We are calling ourselves maybe a week and a half behind. Things accelerate and decelerate depending on where the weather is. So we're predicting somewhere around the 20th of June that we could be open for red berries. Right now they're very, very green and tiny.
The farmers still don't know when they'll open up for picking, so they advise before going out to the farm, give them a call or check out their website to make sure they are open. And of course, to learn more about this story and other stories we cover here at CCX Media, check out our website, ccxmedia.org.
It's the final week of the high school golf season. Championships are up for grabs across the greater metro area in Class A, AA, and 3A. Bunker Hill's the site for the Class 3A tournament. The boys teeing off Tuesday morning, the girls in the afternoon. Maple Grove's boys are the lone local team that qualified. Crimson senior Nate Adams with a par putt there on Bunker Hill's west course first hole. Adams finishes with a round of 78. His teammate Peyton Miller rolls in this long birdie putt on west number 4. Miller with a day one score of 73, best for Maple Grove today as the Crimson look to defend their state championship. Crimson sophomore Josh Galvin teeing off on East Course hole 8, cards a round of 74 as Maple Grove ends day one in 5th place, 8 shots behind team leader St. Thomas Academy. A handful of individuals from the area also qualified for state. Nice chip here by Hopkins Seth Schricker on East number 2. Schricker finishes with a round of 76. Playing in the same group, Wayzata's Brendan Lee, who rolls in this par putt. Lee comes in with a round of 74 on day one. We'll have girls highlights from Class 3A and more golf Wednesday afternoon here on CCX News. The Hopkins baseball team is back in the state tournament for the first time since 2012. As Jay Wilcox reports, a veteran Royals team is eager to hit the field for state.
There's no doubt winning the Section 6 title and beating the team that's owned the section in recent seasons, Wayzata, was special for the Hopkins players.
It was amazing, especially since we lost Wayzata twice this year. It's really good to beat them, especially in the section championship, especially at first game too. We didn't want to go 2 with them. We wanted to beat them that first game.
My years on the team, we've lost Wayzata in the championship every single year, so I know I'm sort of sick of it. But then every year we just sort of gain more guys, and so now we've had almost half the team who's lost Wayzata in the section championship. So I think this year we were really ready to, get on our home field and finally beat them for once.
It's a Royals team with a lot of veterans. They say going through some disappointments in the playoffs the past couple of seasons has made them stronger.
To be honest, I mean, most of our guys have played varsity now for 2 or 3 years, which it's hugely beneficial. They've been out there, they've had some of the disappointment that comes with losing, and the tough situations are behind them. So you're not seeing any, first year jitters for most of our guys.
Hopkins meets Rogers in the Class 4A quarterfinals, a team they beat in a close game early this season.
But it was at the beginning of the season, so we're both completely different teams, and we might see different pitching, and they'll definitely see different players. So hopefully we can step up and get the win again. So their pitcher was something special, I'm not gonna lie. They hit a really nice curveball, and it was tough. We couldn't hit him until the last inning. We got some big hits in the end of the game, huge walk-off.
After seeing the Hopkins girls and boys basketball teams, and now this past weekend the boys track team win state titles, the Royals baseball team wants to represent the school at the highest level.
Yeah, it's good to continue the winning streak, and as seniors, it's a good way to go out. So,
Hopkins looks battle-tested and ready to go for state. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Hopkins and Rogers play in the final Class 4A quarterfinal game Friday at approximately 5:30 p.m. at CHS Field. Watch for same-night coverage of the game here on CCX1. The state boys and girls lacrosse tournaments are underway. On this week's Sports Jam show on CCX, Jason Milano profiles Maple Grove defender Natalie Hansen. Here's a clip from that story.
Hansen is 6'2" and utilizes her long arms and big reach to frustrate opposing attackers.
I try to intercept passes a lot. People don't expect my arms to be as tall as they are, and I try to get my stick into passing lanes.
Hansen is a 4-year varsity player, and the Crimson has reached the state lacrosse tournament in every season she's played. As a 2-year captain, Hansen has become a great leader.
Watch that entire story and much more on Sports Jam. It's on through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30 p.m. on CCX1 and online at ccxmedia.org. Highlights from state lacrosse Wednesday on the news.